What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? It is your dog, man. Shout out to my dog Chop, man. First one in the building, man. First one in the door for sure. Dog Chop, man. Look, like 45 seconds before it's time to go live. And then as soon as you message me, it makes me think like, oh damn, I ain't got no countdown, no intro music, none of that. Just straight into it. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt at all, my boy. Matter of fact, man, one of my partners, he supposed to be doing something for me. He do music and all that type of stuff. He said he gonna get me right. I'm at to get on him, man. I can't be out here looking like this. I need intro music, man. Set the mood, set the vibe right. Yeah, man. Hold on, go ahead and hang out with me for a little bit, bro. Let me give it time for the little notifications to pop or whatever the case. Let some folks get in here and get comfortable. Matter of fact, man, you know how we do, man. If you got something you got a topic or something now, you put some topics for me in that chat now. We'll get to it. But yeah, let me go ahead and try to make sure everything's set up like I need it to be. Oh, okay. I see a couple more eyeballs in here. Who done fell in this thing? Y'all be patient with me for just a little bit, man. Let's let this thing get warmed up a little bit. Boom. Mama, what's going on? Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hold on, we just gonna give it a little time. We gonna give it a little time. In fact, it was a screen I was looking for. Now, honestly, of course, there's not. Ooh! Oh, we're gonna definitely talk about that. We gonna definitely talk about it, my boy. I see you, Chop. Byron Murphy. We're gonna get into Byron Murphy for sure. Pause. Damn. Not already. I know, cause already, bro. Already, it's starting early. Matter of fact, what time is it? Okay, it's 7:18. Yeah, y'all just chill and hang out with your boy. We ain't got nothing but time. I'm gonna try to give it another minute or two. See who's gonna fall in and make it for this little opening episode with us. Yeah, man. Matter of fact, as you can see, man, definitely got a little liquid courage, little power potion. Hey, Rainy, appreciate you. Appreciate you for sure. Yeah, hold on. D-Dot, what's the word, man? What's going on? Hey, cousin. Anna, what's going on? Appreciate you. Terrific time in this thing. No longer terrible time. Terrific time. Hey, there we go. Matter of fact, we about 5 minutes in. Let's go ahead and get it started. So, without further ado, all right, Big Cuz that got in here too. Right on time, Big Cuz. Appreciate your family. Right on time. Without further ado, man. Welcome to my very first episode, Real Ball Talk with your dog Willie Jack. I appreciate all y'all following through. and coming to kick it with your boy. So, man, excited, man. So if y'all have been around, me and my partner, me and my dog Chop, if y'all are familiar with our former, I guess like video page, Let the Film Speak, and so it's more so football centric. And so I'm still gonna keep that. Maybe add a little more flavor as far as maybe dabble in a couple other sports. I'm still trying to keep it sports, but dabble in some other sports topics, popular pop culture events or something like that. You know what I mean? And so we'll do it like that, and then let's see who's all in here, man. So I can shout out y'all out, man. I appreciate y'all. My dog Chop, man, was first one through the door. My dog, mom's in here, auntie in here, fam bam in here, cousin. What's going on? D Dot, what's the word? Terrific Tom said he's in here. That's our resident Houston Texans correspondent. All right, I told him he can get a promotion. He'd have been promoted. And as a matter of fact, while we let a couple more people find us, go ahead and break it in, okay? Ooh, Garcia and Haney. Okay, now you're talking my language, Chop. You know, boxing like my stepson, my favorite stepson. You know what I mean? To the NFL for sure. Yeah, it's my other son, no doubt. Yeah, we can get into that for sure. Matter of fact, man, you know what? We can break the ice a little bit with that Garcia and Haney if you want to. Yeah, Garcia and Haney. I think actually, they fighting 2 weeks, 420. I'm definitely taking Haney for sure. And especially at 140, man, I think this Devin Haney at 140 is about to be a new monster. Just a completely new animal. I really do think, I'm not necessarily to say that he's going to start just knocking dudes out left and right. I'm not necessarily saying that. But I definitely do think he kept himself at 135, for probably longer than his body naturally wanted to be at. And so it was I think a hamperment, honestly, to his power or his power potential for sure. And so, but his first fight at 140, the Regis Prograis fight, dropping Regis Prograis, who, and I don't know if y'all know much about Regis Prograis, he'd only lost one fight before, a very close, I want to say split decision to Josh Taylor for, I think, for one of those belts at 130, I believe. I think it was for a belt at 130. Josh Taylor went on to be undisputed at 130, if I'm remembering correctly. And so that was his only loss. And that was a good ass fight if y'all seen it. And I want to say it might have been a split decision, but that was his only loss. And I don't think he'd ever been dropped before. And so Devin Haney, his first fight going to 140, drops Regis Prograis. And so that's nothing to be discounted. And then better than that, deeper than that, Haney, I think, could have put Prograis away. It's just not in Haney's, I guess, temperament or not in their game plan to extend themselves, especially their first time up, and there was a title on the line. So let's play it by the book, let's play it by the line. But he dropped Prograis. There was a couple times in that fight he definitely took his foot off the gas. I think if he had or wanted to have a style of killer instinct, you know what I mean, a la like a Bud Crawford or a Tank Davis, a very blood and water, Sharks is gonna hunt. You know what I mean? So if he had wanted to pursue it like that, I think there were some times where it looked like he could have stopped Prograis. Maybe not necessarily from just one shot power, but he an accumulation of punishment. Like he definitely wobbled him, stunned him, and then he would kind of ease off, play it safe, just get through the rounds. Big Chef in this thing. Willie White said ball talk. Oh yeah, man. You know we getting started with a little bit of my dog Chop asked me about a little boxing. You know what I mean? Nice little icebreaker while let everybody get in here and get real comfortable. But it's definitely gonna be a lot of ball talk. Y'all know how I get down, man. If you got something you got something on your chest, Big Chef. You know what I'm saying? Drop it in the chat. We can talk about it, big dog. I'm here for all of that. But man, I'm excited to watch that fight. I really want to see what's going on with Garcia, man. Garcia is one of these guys, like his public perception, his trajectory, and all those things, like the way he was going, and then he's just completely in my mind, he's just completely tanked his credibility. And I don't know, man. Cries for attention, in and out the ring, in and out of different fights, playing crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole bunch of other nonsense, and I don't know, man. I don't know I don't know what's going on with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is quickly, I think he's using the last of his popularity or his buzz, because I think he's going to lose this fight. He's willing to take these big name fights. He fought Tank Davis, with all the caveats, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The weight restrictions and all that good stuff. He fought Tank Davis. He's fighting Devin Haney. That deserves a lot of credit for sure, because most of these guys aren't doing that because they don't want to risk their, chance to make money as an undefeated fighter, etc. But he lost to Tank. I really think he's going to lose to Haney. And honestly, the more I think about it, I just can't trust what he's going to look like. I think it could be relatively lopsided, or not lopsided, but comfortable. Like I would imagine Devin wins this 9-3 if I had to imagine. But and then from there, where's Ryan go after two back-to-back losses against two like high quality competitions? And then does he go try to pick up a fight with Rolly, who just got embarrassed and beat around the ring by Pitbull Cruz? Does he go chase that fight to kind of try to get himself a win and try to build some buzz back? He's not going to fight Teofimo Lopez, and Teofimo Lopez did some discredit to his own reputation as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with Ryan Garcia, man, after this one. Like I said, I'm assuming he loses. I am curious to see how he looks training under Derrick James, though. So Derrick James was the famous longtime trainer of Earl Spence. So I want to see what changes, if any, that we can see, from this fight his first time out. Oh, man, Tom back true to form. Tom is still in true form, man. Takes us to the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to lie. You said that. You've been saying that for a long time. Oh, my God. Ring. Get out of there, Ring. Don't listen to him. Don't get off it. Get out that car right now. All right? But yeah, terrific time talking about these takes to the Super Bowl. But he might be on to something now. Now y'all might got a real chance, man, from what we've seen from young CJ Stroud in his rookie year. Phenomenal breakout season for Nico Collins as well. Young, exciting breakout star in Tank Dell. Now, he did get injured, but he's going to be – I don't know if he's going to be back week 1, but he'll be back, I want to say, that first leg of the season somewhere along there. And so you've got him back. And then, of course, the massive trade for Stephon Diggs. Reconstructing that deal. He had signed a 4-year extension with Buffalo, and then Buffalo had already been sunk into a lot of that dead money as well. I think they already are on the hooks as far as the cap is concerned for like $31 million and 31 and change. And so they trade him. He goes to the Texans. The Texans essentially void the last 3 years of the deal. They give him a pay increase this year. He was only set to make $19 million. They boost that up to, I think it was $22.6, so $22.6 million for just this one solo season, and then he'll hit the free agency market again and see if he has a chance to cash back out one more time while he's still on the. He's on the wrong side of 30, but he's not an old player. I think he just turned 31 this year, I want to say, or he just turned 31. So still a young enough guy. And kind of like I talked about last week, I think last week when I went live on Facebook, we kind of talked about it a little bit then, but this is still a super talented dude. He's a terrific route runner. Like I said, a top 5 route runner in this league. Generally, he's got pretty consistent hands. He had a major drop in that playoff loss where Buffalo played Kansas City in that divisional round game. He had a huge drop in that game, but I don't want us to just let that be the story of who he's been as a player. He's got generally speaking, he's got very reliable hands for sure. And so, but now playing with CJ Stroud, new change of scenery, new excitement there. Y'all made a lot of moves, Tom, man. Getting Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, picking him up from the cast-off line, man, when the Bengals kind of cast him to the side and going to getting him. I really like the move for Danielle Hunter. I can't believe Danielle Hunter didn't have and I don't know what his overall market was, but just the fact that he signed a 2-year deal, it just really makes me wonder, like, damn, man, didn't nobody want to give him a full-fledged superstar contract he couldn't sign for 4 for $110 or something like that? Like, this is a guy that consistently hunts the quarterback, man. And so I'm surprised how short his deal was. But let me see here. Nick, my dog Hoppy in there, man. Clapping back. He said he knows everything goes through KC. Hey, we can't argue that, man. We really can't argue that. Like this, I think a lot of people, if you're not a Kansas City fan, then I think if you did want to see Kansas City like not necessarily have it teed up. You know what I mean? Like where they had locked in home field advantage, they had the bye week, and so it was a shorter road, and they're at home. So we did want to see them on the road. Like I said, they played opening weekend. Their offense wasn't the juggernaut that it has been in living memory since Patrick had taken over as the starting quarterback. And so Kansas City did a lot to answer a lot of questions, man, with this championship. This one is the most impressive one to me, honestly. I mean, it really is. This one was super impressive, especially with just all the storylines with Eric Bieniemy, that offense struggling, the early success that Eric Bieniemy's offense had in Washington by comparison as well, all the drop passes, faulty calls for and against them. I mean, there was a lot of adversity for this Chiefs team, honestly, and they really just showed that this is a true championship dynasty caliber of team for sure. And so they answered a lot of questions. The Arrowhead Invitational. I like it. I like it. Oh, hold on. Here's Chop, man. Chop coming at Diggs. Said Marcus worries Diggs is in decline and he will not move the needle that much for them. Well, there's two things I would ask about that. For one is, well, what's move the needle mean? Because they were already a playoff team, a division winner. They won a playoff game. And so I don't think that Stephon Diggs there's not many players that are just going to show up and now you're going to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, what do we mean when what's the bar for move the needle is one thing I would say. And then Diggs in decline, I think that's yet to be seen, man. Kind of like I said last week in the Facebook Live, like he's not a player that wins with just raw athleticism. Like those players kind of fall off their fall off, or the cliff for them is pretty sharp. He's a guy that his game is centered around technique, nuance. You know what I mean? Like skillful application of ability. And so those are the things that stay with you. You know what I mean? So Peyton lost his arm before he lost his mind for the game. And so I think with Diggs' game being the way it is, those players generally are able to last a little longer because they're not necessarily dependent on running past somebody to be successful. That's never really been like his game. Chop said they're still only a playoff team, nothing more. I mean, man, I don't know, man. That's almost like low-hanging fruit. So that's what you're saying. So you're saying the bar for whether or not he was a good addition is if they make the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't like that bar. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. A fair critique. But I do think that there'll be benefit there. For one, and I said this kind of last week, I don't think, I'm not going to crown any of those guys in Houston as number ones. I'm not, Nico Collins had a breakout year for sure. Tank Dell broke out as a rookie. Noah Brown stepped up in a couple big moments where they had injuries to those top two guys. I'm not going to call any one of those guys ones. They're not ones. Not yet. It's not to that point yet. Nico Collins looks like, I don't know if he'll ever be just a bona fide top flight, top of the league one, or if his ceiling is more so like the best of what we saw from T. Higgins, where we felt good calling him a 1B. You know what I mean? I don't know yet. I want to see a little more before I be comfortable just saying, nah, man, this is a bona fide top of the league, number one. Any team, any situation, any quarterback, he goes anywhere and he is a dude. I don't know if I can say that about Nico Collins. And to me, that's what, when we say somebody's a true one. But see, also, y'all got to remember you talk to. We only got 6 true ones in the league, though. You know what I mean? And so that's a tough line to crack if you ask me. But Stephon Diggs has shown that he can be one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to let the second half of a season, take away what we've seen from him for the last 5 years. Not just yet. Like I said, especially with all the changes going on in Buffalo, they changed that offense. The running game definitely came to the forefront. They changed. And so there was a lot of other things going on. And then, of course, we won't know all the ins and outs of the kind of smoke or animosity that's starting to surface that may have been, behind the scenes with him and his relationship with Josh Allen. And so there was a lot of factors, you know what I mean, that may have came into play into you know what I mean, how Stephon Diggs' time in Buffalo ended. Chop said he thinks they could have made other moves to maybe make them a Super Bowl contender. I mean, I don't know what better moves. Honestly, when we look at what the moves they made, I think if they didn't have the best offseason, because this is going to be subjective, if it wasn't the best offseason, I think the Texans had a top 3 or 4 offseason. Upgrading the running back position with Joe Mixon. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Mixon. You know what I mean? My dog Chops in the chat, he was a bigger Joe Mixon fan than myself. I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Mixon, but he's an upgrade over Devin Singletary, even though Devin Singletary had a resurgent year last year for them, and definitely had a good 4-game run, I want to say, in which he was ultra productive or productive in big spots, but never was a true game breaker or anything like that, or you know what I mean? So I don't think there was ever an instance where we felt comfortable just saying, okay, well, they can just put this game on Devin Singletary's back. He never gave us that, but he just he was productive and he was a bright spot in spurts. I think Joe Mixon is an upgrade in that aspect, so I like that move. Stephon Diggs, man, regardless of what we may feel about him, because we're thinking about him in the microwave effect, we're thinking about him in this last, the second half of a season. But I'm still thinking about the guy who he's been and who he's shown to be. And then just from his game in and of itself, like I said, like I don't think a steep athletic decline is something that he has to worry about because that's not his game anyway. You know, he's going to win with technique, nuance, route running, creating separation. He, generally speaking, like I said, he's got the big drop in that playoff game, but it's a guy with great hands. He's got tremendous highlight style of catches. And so you upgrade that receiver room. If anything, I think this helps to continue to push Nico Collins because Nico Collins, without the addition of Diggs, Nico Collins is going to now be forced to shoulder the load of teams looking at him like a true number one. And then we'll see how that goes. We've seen that happen before. We've seen Juju. I've seen Juju Smith-Schuster go for 1,500 yards when he's on the other side of AB. And then his first go around of getting the crack of being the dude. And man, look, when he bounced around, went to Kansas City, went to New England. You know, it's a different world. It's a different ball game. Like when you're the focus getting game plan for. And so now we don't necessarily have to put Nico Collins to that test. And so now if you're telling me Nico Collins may be a good one, I know he can be a great two. You know what I mean? I know he can be a great 1B. And in Tank Dell, he was a, I don't want to say flash in the pan, but it was, I don't want to say lightning in the bottle either, but maybe he could be a decent or solid two. We got to remember he came on the scene for 6 games, then he got injured. This is his rookie year. So we don't even know if he could be a dependable quality season-long 2. I have no question he could be a 3, though. You know what I mean? And then also the production that we got from Dalton Schultz at tight end as well. And so, no, man, I think this Stephon Diggs move does a lot for this offense, man. It definitely, I think it's going to take a lot of the pressure that some of these first-time stars were maybe going to face because now he gets to come in and kind of shoulder some of that load. And so I love that move. And then, of course, like I said, man, getting Danielle Hunter on that defensive line, man, to pair him up with Will Anderson Jr. on the other end, that was a terrific addition. They still need help in the secondary. Derek Stingley, the young guy, he's there. He's nice. Jalen Petrie, he's nice. I still want somebody else on that corner room. They got a young linebacker there, but yeah, man, they still got some work they could do. Hoppy, man, you ain't got to kick him while he's down, man. He can't be Big Josh in the offseason. Come on, man. Hoppy said, check my mail. Okay, bet. I'm gonna check my messenger for sure. Yeah. No, I appreciate y'all. Let me back check some of these comments, man. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. So, I mean, that took what? That was 25 minutes. I was thinking, find something a little light, little icebreaker. But the idea I had, like I said, with it being Monday, we're 2.5 weeks from the draft. The draft is 2 Thursdays from now. And so I thought, man, what better way to kind of break in the channel? It's Monday evening. We did a mock draft Monday. And then especially with any or everybody in the chat, we could be our own war room and try to make these decisions or make these picks, as a team or as a unit, man, and just kind of see if we can have some fun with that. Jeremy said Collins is a 1. Why? Because you seen him ball for 11 games this year? I mean, we gonna crown him right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he can't be, but like I said, man, I'm not gonna put him above Stephon Diggs at this point. You know, I'm not comfortable doing that. I wouldn't, but I can't put the rent money on Collins being a one, man. Not just right now. He's super talented, stretches the field, um, combat catches. He's acrobatic. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I could just pull him from the Texans and drop him anywhere else in the league and he be a bona fide dominant star. Like I just don't know if I'm comfortable saying I could do that for him just yet. And that's why I'm like, okay, you know, I want to see that, man. I want to see a little consistency. We've seen 1 year guys, Chop. You remember your boy Josh Gordon? Come on, man. Don't fall into the trap, Chop. All right? Don't fall into the trap. Diggs ain't no number one with the Texans, man. We gonna see. We will see. The coverage will tell us. It ain't gonna be hard to figure it out, man. Who's commanding the coverage when the live bullets start? And that'll tell us everything we need to know. Collins ain't on drugs. What's drugs got to do with it? Diggs is on drugs, man. Don't say that. Y'all don't bash Diggs like that, man. Kansas City take me. What you talking about, Hoppy? Hoppy. Kansas City will take you, big dog. For sure. If you got two hands and a post, you can get a tryout. I'm telling you. Hey, man. Hey, you got two hands and a post. You can get a tryout at Kansas City, man. Keandre, what's going on, big dog? What's happening, bro? I'm a fit. Hey, Hoppy said I can't catch. I'm a fit in. I'm not gonna. No, you can catch. Yeah, I'm gonna fit in though. I'm gonna chill. I don't mind. I'll be number 5. I'll be number 4, 5 on the bench. I ain't tripping. Yeah, I ain't tripping at all, Hoppy. For sure. Oh, Gordon on drugs. Yeah, man, don't say when you say drugs, man. It makes me think heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like crack cocaine. Gordon was smoking weed, man. I don't want to go too hard on him for smoking weed. I mean, like it is what it is, but the league was their stance or views was a little antiquated, especially at that time. But Tom said they hit him up. Yeah. Oh no, now look, you got Keandre thinking y'all can get Diggs. Now Diggs in Houston, kicking it. Diggs in Houston kicking it. But yeah, man, let me see. Y'all give me 1 second, man. I'm gonna pull up this mock draft, see if we have fun with that while we in the background hanging out. And then of course, man, but y'all know how I feel, man. The conversation is gonna be king. So if we got something to talk about, man, we can definitely talk about it. But while we kick it and have a good time, man, let's do this as well, man. I absolutely love draft season. My dog Chopper tell y'all that, man. And y'all probably know it as well. And so, love draft season. I get all into it. This is spring Christmas for me, man. Draft time of the year is spring Christmas. All right? And so now, dog's about to get a ring. Who don't want to? Oh! Who's going? Well, you know what? Hoppy and Keandre, man, y'all my Chiefs fans in here right now. How do y'all feel about that Hollywood Brown move? I like that Hollywood Brown move, man. I think he had a tough kind of, I don't want to say tough, but I think things for him went rougher than kind of expected. Because when he was coming into the league from Oklahoma, he was an uber talented dude. Like I think I still preferred CeeDee Lamb, just the size. It's hard for me to kind of choose the 5'9", 160-pound guy if there's a 6'1", 205-pound guy right next to him and both of them are producing. You know what I mean? But as far as him as a player, though, man, I love the move for y'all. I really do. He gives that over the top speed element that y'all been missing since Tyreek for sure. Hoppy is there. Okay, Hoppy's on board. Exactly right. No, that's exactly where I was going with that. Hop. That's exactly where I was going with that, man. He brings back that speed element that you guys have just sorely been missing, man. So, and also, man, he's shifty. He's one of these guys as well where you can also get cheap, easy offense as well. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't all have to be 60-yard moon balls. He's one of these guys as well, man, especially with Andy, and we know how creative that offense can be when they have the weapons to do so, man. You can find different ways to get the ball in his hands that he can do the hard work for you. He can do that leg work. He could take those 6-yard quick screens and 40, 50, 60 yards later, that's 6. And so above all else, he can hold on to the ball. Yeah, no, he can. He's got decent hands. He's got capable hands. And I'll tell you another thing as well. To be, if we're gonna be honest, the bar is pretty low in Kansas City. So as bad as it's been for y'all with receivers catching the ball, that bar is set pretty low. And so I would imagine he can't do any worse, Keandre. He can't do any worse, bro. Ah, man, K-Rock, man, you missed it earlier, just a little bit. I think before you got on, man, we were breaking down that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight, bro. So you might have wanted to catch that. All right, I got a question for y'all. I'm on this mock draft simulator, right? New England is on the clock at pick number 3. Now, everybody know, or if you follow the draft, you'll know that Minnesota made some moves. They made a trade with Houston. Minnesota has 2 first-round picks. They're desperate for a quarterback. They lost Kirk Cousins. And so they're looking to move into the top 5 to get a quarterback. I don't know if y'all had an opinion about that or not. Or if y'all are, or if anybody in there is New England, do you just stick and pick? Do you just stay there and you draft a quarterback? I don't know how y'all feel about that. Let me see what y'all talking about. He said Rashee Rice might be over with. Man, bro, what's crazy about that is it was already going to be a crazy situation for sure. And then it's made that much worse for sure by fleeing the scene of the accident or whatever the case. And then once you leave the scene, you get your attorney. And I'm not mad about it getting an attorney before he makes a statement or turns himself in. Like, yeah, you got money, man. Handle your business the right way, or to protect yourself. Everybody's got to look out for number 1, so I'm not mad about that. But man, out of like 6 dudes with you in that car, wasn't nobody else gonna take that for you, bro? Wasn't nobody gonna take that hazardous driving charge? Wasn't nobody, like, man, come on, man. Wasn't nobody gonna sit down for 90 days for you, bro? Golly. Y'all remember what Chris Carter tried to tell y'all before they kicked him out the league's rookie symposium? He's like, man, you gotta have somebody in the car that's gonna take that charge for you, big dog. For real. It was like 6 dudes that got caught on camera leaving those 2 cars in the middle of the road, which was crazy. You own one, and then the others are rental in your name. So where were you going? What was the plan there? And then you leave the scene, you leave the cars, you leave the weed in the car. They find almost 11 grams of weed in the car, which, you know what I'm saying, depending on who you are, what you know about it, or whatever the case, isn't overly a lot, but in Texas, it's a felony jail charge. And so, yeah, man, they just completely, that's that, man, just young and dumb, but which is never going to be an excuse when it's time to pay the piper. But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, anybody who was there or whatever, injured or close to injured, you know what I'm saying, he'll pay a couple pretty pennies. He'll definitely get fined. I don't know, man, if he's actually going to have jail time. Like I said, it's not going to be to the extent of Henry Ruggs. Of course, nobody's life was lost. And then the injuries, by all accounts, appear to be superficial at best. I think the worst of the injuries were somebody had to receive like 4 or 5 stitches, or whatever the case. And I saw an article that said the person who had those like 5 stitches is on bed rest. So we know how that goes. That's ridiculous. But in the grand scheme, I don't think he's completely washed up, man. I don't think so. And then especially Kansas City, man. Kansas City can't be choosy right now, man. It took them 6 games into the year before they finally accepted that rookie Rashee Rice was our best option on the outside. So it took them that long to finally face facts and accept it. And then when they put the ball in his hands, he produced. Very good after the catch. Solid hands, especially like I said on the team where nobody can catch a cold, but solid hands. And so he's a nice piece to have with Hollywood Brown. And so, I mean, I'm always hoping for the best for the players. Like I said, I never want to see anyone just get their whole future taken away or lost or stripped or whatever the case from one decision. I mean, unless it's to something, overly gruesome, extraordinary that should go without saying. But oh yeah, Keandre K. Right, yeah, man. It was 10.8 grams that was left in one of the cars. I don't know which one it was. I assume he admitted to driving the Urus. So he had a what was the vehicle he owned? I can't remember. I think he owned a Corvette that one of his homeboys was driving that he was racing, and then he rented the Lamborghini Urus, the Urus truck. And so then he's came out and admitted that he was driving the Urus. But yeah, I guess he left like just short of 11 grams of weed in the car. But in Texas, like I said, that's some style of felony in Texas. I don't know what class. I would think it's a lower class, but you know what I'm saying? But it can qualify as a felony. And so they may be looking to make an example of, or I don't even want to say make an example because he did what he did, but we'll see. Matter of fact, while I'm talking, man, I'm drafting as well, but yeah, I am kind of curious to see how this thing what comes of this, like how it wraps up or whatever the case. Let me see, I got Arizona on the clock. Think Arizona's going receiver. Got to get some type of weapon for Kyler Murray for sure. There's definitely several good choices here. I'll go Marvin Harrison. I'll go with Marvin Harrison there. Then we've got the Chargers on the clock. They also are desperate for a receiver. Now, one thing I'll say is that the Chargers, they're desperate for a receiver, but this is a very deep receiver class. And Harbaugh, and not just Harbaugh, some of his assistants as well have came out, and they've reinforced the fact that they're building this team in the true mode of Harbaugh's past teams. We saw what type of team he had on his championship Michigan Wolverines team. We saw what type of teams he had in San Francisco where they were competing for a Super Bowl. And so Harbaugh's going to build his team through the offensive line, through the run game. And so I think they're going to wait on a receiver here. And I think they go into the O-line well. They need a right tackle. They've got a good stud young left tackle in Rashawn Slater. So I don't think it's a guy that plays on the left. I think it's a guy that plays on the right. Chop, man, Chop, now you late, bro. He said Vikings move to 4. Cardinals need more than just one piece. Well, the Cardinals actually, they have 2 first-round picks. The Cardinals have a lot of picks in this draft. And they've got 2 first-round picks already. So I think the Vikings either move to 3 for the Patriots or 5 for the Chargers. Because I think the Chargers want to go O-line anyway. But yeah, see, I wish I'd have seen that too late. I had to go ahead and just make the pick to keep it moving. But I do think they go O-line. Joe Alt is generally the consensus top tackle in this draft, but he's a left tackle. And honestly, I don't necessarily like flipping him on the right side, honestly. Fuaga is a right tackle. He's a power right tackle for sure. Run game is definitely his forte. He makes a lot of sense. Armarius Mims, a right tackle from Georgia. He's been a little banged up and injured while at Georgia, but super talented. D-Dot know what's going on, man. You know what's going on with the nation, big dog. Yes, sir. You know what's going on. Yeah, man. And matter of fact, here, for the sake of the draft, I think they're going right tackle. My guy would be J.C. Latham. And so, I guess secret or whatever disclosure, but J.C. Latham was my number 1 tackle in the draft. So that's the guy I would choose. But for the sake of the draft and kind of playing it out on the big board that's on here, let's go Fuaga. Let's see. Who's that take us down to? The Giants, excuse me. We got the Giants at 6. You said if he's smart, he better go get Neighbors. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. And he's talking about he's of course talking about Jim Harbaugh. But I really don't think they're gonna go receiver in that with that first pick. I really think that they're considering move. They're definitely gonna be in play as one of the trade partners from the Vikings. I think if the Vikings could get to 3 with the Patriots, then I think maybe they go to 3 just to make sure nobody else may jump them type of thing. But if not, I think they do go to 5 with the Chargers. But if they stay there, like I said, I think as deep as this receiver class is, and you already know, man, we've kind of talked offline a little bit, man. This receiver class is super deep. And they're going to be picking again at the top of the second round. And there's quality there as well. And especially for a team that wants to, this offense is no longer going to go through just Justin Herbert trying to sling it 40 times a game. Thank God. That's not the best thing. That's not been a recipe for success. So they're not going through the right arm of Justin Herbert, man. They're not necessarily as desperate for a guy like Neighbors as I think some other teams may be. And so, like I said, man, I think they're most likely gonna move down, and then they're gonna get their choice of tackle. But for the sake of this, man, we're not doing trades or anything like that. I'll just stick and pick. Now the Giants are desperate for a receiver. It's been super ugly for them. I don't know why the screen is a little short, but this is where I would have Neighbors going, and that is just exactly what they need. They've been desperate for some weapons, man. They have been truly desperate for any style of weapon in New York. And so now they finally get one. They get a damn good one, too, in Malik Neighbors. It's going to put Tennessee on the clock for us. Tennessee definitely needs O-line. I think I love. As a matter of fact, while we're on Tennessee, the addition that they made as well, man, going to get Calvin Ridley, a little pricey for me. We act like Calvin Ridley, just because he's only played in the league for roughly 3 years, we act like he's 25, 26. Nah, man, he's 30. He's damn near 30, man. He's not a young pup. He's a year younger than Stephon Diggs. And some of y'all think Stephon Diggs is washed up and about to fall off a cliff, man. Calvin Ridley they could have been in the same high school together. They could have played on the same varsity basketball team. But I'll go Joe Alt there, man. Pair him with Tyler Skoronski that they drafted last year. Uh-oh. I have no idea why this isn't like following us or moving down. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Falcons on the board at 8. Said really is still nice though. I mean, but how nice is he, man? Like I said, what, for 8 games a year? He showed up every other week. You know what I'm saying? Like he was inconsistent in Atlanta. Really was one of those guys as well that we talk. And you know what? Really's a good example. Just like when we were talking about Nico Collins, like I want to see if Nico Collins is a number one, a guy that can, come in and take over and be a true number one, or is he a Juju Smith-Schuster? Is he a Calvin Ridley? Because Calvin Ridley was very promising when he was on the other side of a healthy Julio Jones. And then Julio Jones gets out of there, it clears the runway for Calvin Ridley to ascend and be a true number one. Shit the bed, man. Ain't no other way to put it. You know what I mean? He had a poor year. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go too hard on him. And then also, I guess he was dealing with mental issues and he had some other stuff going on in his personal life or whatever, or the game started beating him up. He got in his own head. And so it's one of the things that prompted him to leave the game is the pressures of trying to live up to that number one billing, especially filling those shoes from Julio. And honestly, he couldn't do it. And then he leaves for a year. Then he gets busted betting on DraftKings, whatever the case, which was crazy by the league. But I guess, especially with sports betting being prevalent and et cetera, or whatever the case, they've got to draw hard lines with that stuff. So I can see that. But anyway, so he loses 2 years. He comes back. He goes to the Jags. And then, like I said, man, once every 3 games, he showed up and would ball. You know what I'm saying? And so he had 1,300 yards by himself in the 16 games. See, I didn't think he played a whole season without Julio. I thought the year without Julio is the year he walked away from the game. Cause I know he had a 1,300. I don't know if it was 1,300 or whatnot, but he had a very, successful year as the number 2. Now, Julio is going to be in and out of any lineup he's in. That's been kind of one of the things that he's been plagued him his whole career. But when Julio was officially off that roster and it was just Calvin Ridley, I thought that's the same year that he walked away. I'll have to look that up offline, Chop, so I can before I can be sure. Atlanta's interesting here. We know the moves that they made, man. You go get Captain Kirk Cousins, you cash him out. $40 million a year coming off of coming off of an Achilles at 38 years old. They revamped that receiver room as well. They go get Darnell Mooney. Who else did they bring over there? Darnell Mooney and Rondale Moore. So you add those guys to be the 2 and the 3 to Drake London. Young talent. You got Kyle Pitts. You've got Bijan now, who's going to fully step into that number 1 lead back role now that Arthur Smith is gone. And so they've got a lot cooking on offense. So the interesting thing for me would be, with a guy like Rome Odunze still on the board, do they want to go ahead and double down on the weapons, pair Rome Odunze with Drake London, and then let Darnell Mooney slide from 2 to 3? You know what I mean? And then you put Rondale Moore as your change of pace, number 4 returner and scat personnel or whatever the case. That's one thing they could do. But for me, I think they definitely need some additions to that defense. Let's not forget, Raheem Morris, of course, defense coordinator with the Rams, chopped in here. But he's a defensive guy. You know what I mean? He's a defensive coordinator, and that defense has some holes, especially in the front 7. They've been struggling to generate pressure for a long time. They need help in that secondary at the corner position. They got the safety. Jesse Bates from the Bengals came over, had a terrific year, an all-pro caliber year. So safety is pretty solid. I think the corner room definitely needs some help. Tyson Campbell was solid 2 years ago and then like I said, I think he took a step back this last year, and I think he's coming up on contract time. So I want to lean corner or edge if it's me. They are running a 3-4. I think Latu stands up better than Jared Verse. But if it's me, unless y'all got some thoughts in here in this chat before I make this decision, I'm leaning towards Quinyon Mitchell. Because I really think I don't think they want to be forced into the position of having to pay or overpay for Tyson Campbell. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it so I keep this moving. But I don't think they're gonna want to be forced into the position of having to pay Tyson Campbell, and then the rest of those guys need an upgrade. You know what I mean? And so there's more guys in that cornerback room, but I think they get a nice young stud here in Quinyon Mitchell. And I think he fits and suits what Raheem Morris wants to do. Raheem Morris is really a zone. He prefers more zone-based defenses. And we've seen that. Chop can tell us about that for sure, or he can attest to that, because one of the things when he took over the defense from I can't think of the guy who was the coordinator before that, but that's one of the things he did was move Jalen Ramsey more into the nickel and have him put him in more of a roaming style scheme, because, like I said, he prefers to have kind of more zone-based defenses. And I think Quinyon Mitchell, while I think he can play man, he's definitely a supreme athlete for sure. He showed out at the Senior Bowl, but his college film at Toledo was a lot of off man and zone. And so I think those are things that are going to be more to the liking of Raheem Morris. Now we got the Bears back on the clock, man. They're second pick in the first round. A lot of talk about them doubling up, getting Caleb Williams, getting Rome Odunze, but they're another one too, man. You've got DJ Moore, who's a stud. You go make the trade or go sign Keenan Allen. So you've got him. So I don't know if they need a third body in the top 10. I think they also need defense. They bring back Jalen Johnson on a big contract at corner. All-pro year from him, so it was perfect timing. This is the trade for Montez Sweat, one defensive end from Washington, was a success, but I think they still need another piece there to really maximize, I think, this defense. Here's where I would take Jared Verse. I love Jared Verse, man. Definitely a power player, athletic freak for sure. He's explosive, doesn't bend the best, but supreme athlete, super strong. And I think he's going to pair well, especially in this division. Let's not forget, man, this is a division that's got the Detroit Lions. They've got 2 extremely talented running backs, and Jameer Gibbs. and David Montgomery. We've got the Packers, who have a successful run game. Now they've traded out Josh Jacobs in place of Aaron Jones, but still a team that does run the ball and run the ball very well. And then, of course, who am I missing in that division? NFC North. Oh, okay, and then the Vikings. And so we'll see what the Vikings do because they're still trying to rebuild their running game. But the two top dogs in this division, the Packers and the Lions, both run the ball. And so I think getting Jared Verse, adding them to that defensive line is definitely going to help strengthen, like I said, like their positioning as far as playing the guys in their division. Jets at 10. Two ways to look at this. They signed Tyron Smith, longtime tackle from the Cowboys. Oh, Chop wants Bowers to the Jets. Okay, I was going to tee something up for you. I was going to, okay, do we go with Brock Bowers at tight end, Rome Odunze on the outside? They signed Mike Williams, but he's injured right now. We're assuming he's going to be back already by week 1, but do we know that? And then also, even if he is back week 1, well, how many games does he play? He's been another guy that's also been bit pretty frequently by the injury bug. And so do you still plan for the future? You can get a Rome Odunze, pair him up with Garrett Wilson. Or like say you got Brock Bowers, the young, talented, multifaceted tight end. Definitely more Shannon Sharp than he is Gronk. Or you can backdoor, man. You can backdoor get a tackle. You can get an Amaris Mills or Olu Fashanu, Troy Fatanu, one of these guys. But you know what? My dog, he's in the chat. He said give him Bowers. And I don't hate it. When I first was seeing this mocked early in the year, I didn't like it. I wanted them to go tackle. Well, I guess it was before they added pieces to that offensive line. But I'm not mad at it, man. The more and more I see it. Now, we'll see if how long it takes Rodgers to click with him, because Rodgers is notorious for not really trusting rookies right out the gate. Okay, yeah, that's exactly where I was going, Chop. Yeah, Dunze on the outside, insurance for Mike Williams. They need another lineman because they got 2 older tackles. They signed Tyron Smith to a 1-year deal, and they bring over Moses. What's his last name? Moses. He was the right tackle for the Baltimore Ravens last year. They bring him over at right tackle. I think he's on a 1, maybe 2-year deal, but he's almost as old as you, Chop. So they don't have a tackle for the future. And like I said, Tyron Smith is injury prone, so they could have backdoored, man, and doubled up on tackle. But I'm not mad at the Bowers pick, man. This, like I said, they're planning. A-Rod played 4 snaps last year. He's coming back off that Achilles. Who knows how much time is left, and everybody in that Jets front office needs to win right now to have a job this time next year. So, yeah, maybe they do go Bowers or some type of weapon. Cousin, what's going on? Still a nation. You know what's going on. We in this thing, cousin. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate you. So who we got? Who's on the clock for us? Okay, the Vikings. So the Vikings are on the clock. Like I said, we didn't do any trades or anything crazy like that. Just, just playing it through. And so now we should all assume they're going quarterback for sure. Because, like I said, there's no Kirk Cousins. They've got Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league. That's in the business. He's there. He's due for an extension. They say the extension talks for Justin Jefferson have kind of stalled. I think Justin Jefferson or what I've been seeing or what I heard was he wants to know the plan at quarterback, I guess, before deciding to, how he wants to handle this extension situation. Now, when it's all said and done, I think he's going to get somewhere close. He's going to get somewhere around $32 million a year, and it don't matter if I'm throwing him the ball. He's not going to turn down $33 million a year. But anyway, he still wants to know what the plan is. Of the guys listed, the next 3 guys or these next 4 guys, depending on how you feel, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix. I don't think Nix or Rattler are realistic options. So it comes down to McCarthy and Penix. And so I prefer Penix. I like J.J. McCarthy, though. I can't lie. I was very pleasantly surprised by what I saw when I looked at his film or tape. But if y'all let me make the pick, then Michael Penix is going to the Vikings. And so that's where I'm probably going to take it. Oh, Chop said take McCarthy. Yeah, I think they would take McCarthy. I think McCarthy and May is the guy that their coach has been linked to. So, yeah, we'll do it. but we'll do it. But if it's me, I'm taking Penix all day long. And now we've got the Broncos. Broncos also need a quarterback. Boy say he likes Penix. Yeah, he said he like that. I'm telling you, bro, I don't know what the smoke screen has been around Michael Penix, man, but dude is a baller. Broncos definitely need a quarterback. We know the whole fiasco with Russell Wilson. Matter of fact, appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Sean Payton. Go ahead and send Russ over to a real team, man. We'll take him off your hands for you for sure. But they definitely need a quarterback. I'm curious to see what they do, man, when the draft comes up, because they don't have any draft capital. They used all their draft capital on Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, so they don't have any capital to really make any moves to really be a real threat to trade up. And so they're more than likely going to be stuck here unless they want to give more future picks to try to go up and get one of the guys they really like. But I think Bo Nix probably fits their system the best. I can't imagine drafting Bo Nix this early. I can't imagine drafting Bo Nix realistically in the first round, unless you want to trade back into the bottom of the first round to get the fifth-year option, which, okay, makes sense. But top half of the first round, lottery pick type of pick, I don't think I want. I don't want. That's a little rich for my blood, honestly. But here's the thing as well, though, man. Penix doesn't really fit with what Sean Payton wants to do. Sean Payton doesn't have like a deep, more traditional drop back, deep up the field passing game, passing attack. That's not really what Sean Payton's into. He wants a guy who ran an offense like Bo Nix did in Oregon, where it's quick, short, 3-step timing drops, get the ball out of your hands quickly. Let the offense go left and right before we go north and south type of thing. And so I don't know if I just don't know, man. Bo Nix is too rich for my blood on this one. If it's me. Now unless somebody has an idea, but for the sake of the draft, what'd I do? Okay, yeah, for the sake of the draft, I think Bo Nix flew around to be there in the second round. You lose or you let go of Jerry Jeudy. He goes to Cleveland. You still got Cortland Sutton, but I don't think that they're too keen or dialed in on him being there super long term. I think writing's been on the wall that he's been made available as well for the right price, or he was before Jerry Jeudy got traded. They also need a corner to pair with Patrick Surtain. There's a couple good options there. But I think, you know what? I think this is a good spot for a Dunze. I think this might be a good spot for a Dunze. But see, no, because I'm worried it's too much of the same thing with him and Cortland Sutton, even if Cortland Sutton maybe isn't in the long-term plans. Chops boy, A.D. Mitchell is down there. I think it's a little early for A.D. Mitchell for my liking. When Brian Thompson's still on the board, Keon Coleman. Let's say they add to that secondary. I'm going to give him to Ryan Armstead to pair him up with Patrick Surtain. That's what I'm going to do. Y'all should have been quicker. If y'all wanted somebody else, should have said something in the chat. All right, now this is an easy one for me. If Michael Penix is on the board when the Raiders pick, then he is the quarterback. That's quick and easy. We can't mess that up. So Derek Carr's gone. Jimmy Garoppolo was a bust. Aiden O'Connell won a game without completing a pass in the second half of an entire ball game. They go sign Gardner Minshew to top flight backup money. You know what I mean? So he's an insurance policy in case they don't get anybody, or if or he's quality competition for somebody, even if they bring somebody in. But if Michael Penix is there, I think that's definitely an easy pick for them. I'm gonna pick this thing up as well. New Orleans needs O-line help like nobody's business. They got questions on left and right tackle. I think of these 4 guys listed, I think Mims is a guy that offers versatility on the left or the right side for my money. I love Latham. I'm not sure if he can go to the left. Fatanu, he's left. I don't know if he goes. If Fatanu doesn't play left, he's going inside to guard. Fashanu, he's left only. But I think, no, you know what? I'll go for Sean. Let's play the board how the board is set. So they get left tackle there. The Colts definitely looking for cornerback help. I think I've been loving this pairing. Nate Wiggins to the Colts for me makes perfect sense. Pair him with Juju Brents. They'll have two towers on the outside. Both their corners going to be 6'2". Wiggins, 4'2" speed, plays a lot of off man. The Colts it's more of a zone based scheme as well. They're not really looking to press or get up and bump, and so I think he just fits what they want to do. Seahawks need 3 starters at the interior offensive line, so they need both guards and a center, whoever they can get. This is early for me for guys like Jackson Powers or Graham Barton. I think this is early for them. But Fatanu, I think makes sense. A lot of people project him to move into guard. Also, his college coach is now the offensive coordinator for Seattle, so I think that makes sense. Now, here's an interesting one for sure. The Jaguars are up. They sign. If Rome Odunze's there, he's going to the Jaguars. They go sign and spend money with Gabe Davis, who's a rich man's Martez Valdez-Scantling. So I think I would take him over MVS, but he's of the same style of player. A tall, height, weight, speed guy, stretches the field, a little inconsistent, a little bit of a one-trick pony, but they go cash him out. You still got Christian Kirk playing in your slot, and then your number 2 now is Zay Jones. The other Zay Jones, and so I think they could definitely upgrade that room, and with Rome Odunze being there, and I think he's the guy that can be your more dependable kind of down in and down out go-to weapon. Because Gabe Davis, we don't want to funnel or run the bulk of the offense through him. Christian Kirk is able to kind of carry that load, but still, I don't want to have to go through Christian Kirk in my slot if I don't have to. So I'd rather get Rome Odunze in there to help continue to groom the young Trevor Lawrence. Next is the Bengals. Cincinnati needs some help on the defensive line for sure. They need a defensive tackle. They're another team as well where they made some stopgap moves at tackle. They of course brought over Orlando Brown from the Chiefs last year. He's at left tackle. Right tackle, they just signed and brought over somebody at right tackle. I'm trying to remember who it is. Trent Brown. They bring over Trent Brown on a 1-year deal from the Patriots. Also, they've got T. Higgins, who's on his franchise tag. He's unhappy. We'll see how that plays out. Cincinnati is notorious. They don't care about none of that. They will franchise you against your will. They will hold you hostage. They will force your hands. I don't imagine that changes. And so, unless we get some type of late-breaking news, we're a little late in the cycle for that, or unless it's a draft day trade, which isn't out of the realm of possibility, like we saw with A.J. Brown. I think if T. Higgins gets moved, it'd be a draft trade like that A.J. Brown situation from the Titans to the Eagles. And which is possible because let's say with all these top receivers, even though it's a deep receiver draft, if there's a team that misses on a guy that they definitely wanted, if a team really had their heart set on Brian Thomas Jr. and you miss him, then going and trading for a guy, giving that same first round pick to a proven guy named like T. Higgins may not be a bad follow up. And so receivers interesting. Let me see here. But I think for my money, I'm not gonna lie, that defense they need some difference makers on that defense. I think Byron Murphy is the top D tackle for me. You got Johnny Newton as well, more of a pass rush guy. I don't know if anybody's in here, speak your piece now. Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton, one of the tackles, Mims is still there, Latham is still there. So one of the tackles, I think that's probably where it comes down to for the Bengals. So you can get an offensive lineman to kind of wait in the wings. Like I said, you've got a guy ready to go this year in Trent Brown. So you can kind of get a guy to stash. No, you know what? I think I just talked myself into the defense. I think the Bengals are anxious to get back into their championship window. So they made a Super Bowl 2 years ago now. I want to say they came close. They fall to the Rams. They come back this year. Joe Burrow gets kind of injured, dinged up, and beat up. They start slow. Joe gets back into the lineup. They run off a string of games. They have some success. Joe goes back down, and so I think and especially now if this is the last year of T. Higgins, this may be one of these years where they really make a push to kind of win right now. Especially like I said, while it's strange enough to say the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl, they're not they still weren't the juggernaut that they had been. I hate to do it to you, Chop. I think I'm gonna go Byron Murphy for the Bengals, man. Tighten up that defensive line. They definitely need a tackle. They lost DJ Reader in free agency to the Lions as well, so there's definitely a hole there. Now, Chop, if you're still in this thing, now your Rams on the board, man. I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking, but if you in here, I'll let you make your own pick. I think y'all definitely need somebody in the front. Y'all need defense on any level, honestly. I think the front seven would be the more impressing need for me. I think it's Dallas Turner or Liatu Latu. Either one of these guys, I'm comfortable with either one of them guys standing up and being an outside linebacker for you guys. Y'all could also go Johnny Newton. I don't know how you feel about Johnny Newton to maybe pair him with Kobe Turner and kind of hope to fill some of that hole that's left by Aaron Donald, of course. I think you guys could update your secondary as well. I don't know how you feel about Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like Ennis Rakestraw a lot. I would go Rakestraw over McKinstry if it's me personally. I like Max Melton. I think Max Melton's a first round corner in my mind, but for you guys, I think it's edge, man. Either edge or D-line. Chop, I'm gonna try to give you some time, man. If you're still in this thing, you can talk to me now. I'm gonna go for you. All right. So if it's me making a pick, I'm not the biggest Dallas Turner guy. I know he's got a lot of upside, he's got a lot of potential, but the Rams, I think the Rams have shown us, especially with the drafting of Puka Nacua, they're not worried about raw athleticism, raw testing numbers. They want to go more so for productive, tangible traits, tangible production. And I think Latu, who's is definitely the best pure pass rusher in this draft, especially on the edge, I would go Latu over Dallas Turner. That's just me. Now my Steelers are on the clock. And honestly, the board for us couldn't have felt any better. The board for us couldn't have felt any better. Cousin, Shawnetta, look at us. We got everything we want. D-Dot, what's happening, man? Look at our board. We got everything we want. We've got our Marius Mills. We've got J.C. Latham. So we've got a right tackle. We've got both centers are still here. We've got Graham Barton. We've got Jackson Powers Johnson. Zach Frazier still there. Looked at as more of a second round prospect, but he's still there. And then let me see. Defense, who we've been tied to kind of Kool-Aid McKinstry as well, but I don't think he's in the running for this pick. I think this pick is definitely. Oh, wait a minute. We were tied to some receivers as well. Brian Thomas Jr. is a nice kind of dark horse in this spot as well. So I don't know. How y'all feeling. I'm leaning O-line, cousin. I think we got to fix that offensive line. Although the thought of Michael Thomas or Brian Thomas on the other side of George Pickens sounds appealing, but I think I'm leaning offensive line, and if it's gonna be the tackle or the center, we may need the center a little more, but the tackle is way more valuable to me. I think we love this Armarius Mims kid. We love Georgia linemen anyway. We got Broderick Jones from Georgia. Mims is one of the guys that backed Broderick up and then took over once he left, and so putting those two together again, I think that's really what we would prefer to do. They're both huge. Armarius Mims is 6'8", 340 pounds. And honestly, if not for the injuries, and if he only played 8 games, but if not for some of the stuff going on with him, health-wise, he could have been the first tackle. He could have been in discussion with at least the top 2 tackles in this draft. I think for me, he's tackle number 3. But see, the Dolphins definitely need O-line help for sure. Mainly on the interior. I would go Graham Barton for them. Eagles are interesting. I really think the Eagles can still add to that receiver room. You've got A.J. Brown. Oh, you missed it. I made our pick. Yeah, we in there. But you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith. They signed Devontae Parker. And so if they're looking for a number 3, Brian Michael Thomas would be damn hard to pass up, I think, especially a guy that really stretches the field. Really stretches the field. I think they've got the route runner in Devontae. You've got the running back, or you got the running back at the receiver in a receiver body and A.J. Brown, and really works in the intermediate parts of the field, run after catchability and all these type of things. But I'm going Brian Michael Thomas. I think I want to go Brian Michael Thomas. I want to go. I like Jackson Powers Johnson here for them to rebuild that offensive line. Jason Kelsey retired, of course. They've got the young guard that they had drafted. Is it? Why am I blanking on his name? They're going to move their left guard to center, and then they're having Tyler Steen as I think slated to step in as at guard now. But I think honestly, like I wouldn't put it past Howie as well. He loves the trenches. Oh, wait a second. J.C. Latham sitting there? I like Latham at tackle. Like I said, he's my tackle 1. I like him at tackle. But if you're telling me we can move him inside to guard, my God. Because I was going to say I like Powers Johnson. I like Powers Johnson at guard for them as well, to definitely a little insurance at the center position as well with the young guy moving over. But then also I think he's going to be a damn good guard, just super powerful. But, man, now you're telling me I can get Latham at guard. Ooh-wee. I hate to do. I think I'm going to go Latham. Golly. I think I'm going Latham. Oh, I forgot. Okay, Minnesota's back up. I definitely don't expect Minnesota to be making this pick. Definitely expect them to have traded this capital for a quarterback earlier. But while they're here, since they're here, I think they definitely need a corner. Max Melton would be a guy for me. I'm high on Max Melton, but we'll play the board. They lost. They definitely lost Danielle Hunter in free agency to Houston. They made some signings, though. They got Jonathan Gennard from Houston, who's a nice piece. They get Andrew Van Ginkel from the Dolphins as well. And they signed him, I think, to nice tier 2 money. And so, but I don't know if Van Ginkel's gonna be enough to make me turn down Dallas Turner and that potential. And so I think that may be the pick. Like I said, Max Melton is a guy for me that I think is a round 1 corner. I think they definitely still need corner help. But Brian Thomas there to put him on the other side, make a nice 3-headed monster. You've got Jordan Addison. You've got Justin Jefferson. They need tackle help as well. Johnny Newton. I don't know if he's their cup of tea as far as what they like for their tackles. I'll go Dallas Turner here. Cowboys are up. They're desperate for a tackle. I don't think there's a guy here that they would take at tackle. Tackle and center are both massive holes for them. Jordan Morgan, I like as a left tackle. Some people see him as a guard. I like him in left tackle. I just don't know if the Cowboys like him in left tackle, especially with the power guard or the power center they have here in Jackson Powers Johnson. I think he would probably be the guy there. So they could strengthen the interior of the offensive line. Jackson Powers at center. You still got the All-Pro Tyler Smith at one guard. You still got the Ring of Honor, future Ring of Honor guy, and Zach Martin at the other guard. And so you're solidified across the interior 3. And then from there, Terrence Steele can definitely be upgraded. And then you still got to figure something out outside of left tackle. But the way this board fell, I think I would go with the better player and get Jackson Powers. Now here's an interesting one as well for the Packers. I think they need offensive line depth for them could be a thing, but Cooper DeJean, I don't know how people feel about him. Some people think he's a corner, some people think he's a safety, or a combination of kind of like a nickel / safety. I think I lean more towards the safety group, the safety team, the safety bunch there. But he had a pro day. He was injured, wasn't able to participate in the combine and then in earlier, and so he had a pro day actually today. Tested pretty good on the hand time, 4.43 and 4.45 was the range, but now that's hand time. So we put that on the electric clock at the combine. We can assume that the time is what I thought it was going to be, mid 4.5. You know what I mean? Mid 4.5 to mid to high 4.5. Probably somewhere closer to 4.4, probably closer to 4.55, 4.57, somewhere in there. But I like his fit there in Green Bay. There's been some friction with them and Jair Alexander. They do need the help at safety as well. They just signed Xavier McKinney from the Giants to fill one safety spot. They got the seventh round kid, Anthony Johnson, at the other safety spot. I think Cooper DeJean upgrades him, and then also you get nickel and possibly outside corner flexibility. And so I like that for them. Let's see. The Buccaneers. Oh man, I really thought that the Dallas Turner might have fell to these Buccaneers, who definitely need an upgrade at edge. I think also they need an upgrade at corner, possibly. And again, like I said, I'm a Max Melton fan personally. Okay, Brian Thomas is still on the board. We'll go Brian Thomas. You got an aging Mike Evans who's signed his last contract likely, and so they bring him back, let him finish out his career there. Chris Godwin is still there. He's still relatively young. I don't think Chris Godwin's 30 yet, but he feels like he's been in the league forever, and it feels like he's been a little quiet these last couple of years. He's dealt with injury, so let's get some youth into that receiver room and a guy that can take the mantle from Mike Evans. I like that because Mike Evans is an up the field vertical receiver. He does it more with size and jump ball than raw speed like Brian Thomas, but I like that, man, as an heir apparent. And then, like I said, he's the third wheel in that room with Godwin and Evans. And so Baker gets another weapon. Cardinals, I think they're just going to go best defensive player on the board who suits or fits them. Their coach coming from Philadelphia, so he definitely likes the trenches. Johnny Newton. I don't like Johnny Newton in a 3 front. I'm not opposed to Chop Robinson here. They definitely need help on the edge. They've converted Zaven Collins from middle linebacker to outside linebacker, which was an improvement as far as his game. I didn't like him coming into the league at inside linebacker. I think he is better where he's at, but he's still not a true difference maker on the edge. Chop Robinson's interesting for me. I think I'm going Chop Robinson. Kool-Aid McKinstry would be interesting as well. They definitely need corner help. I think Darius Robinson is an interesting piece here. He's more of a 5 tech. He's not going to stand up in their front, but I'll go Chop Robinson here. Oh, and then look at Buffalo. Just missed out on Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is where I would lean, or a guy that they would definitely probably want. But let's go ahead and finish this thing on out. Buffalo, I think, is definitely that writing's on the wall. We've already talked about Diggs going to Houston. So definitely think they're going receiver. It's a good group. A.D. Mitchell, Keon Coleman. I prefer Coleman to Mitchell. My dog Chop, I don't know if he's still in here or not. I know he's a big Mitchell fan. So I know he would choose Mitchell. They bring over Curtis Samuel, and they've got Khalif Shakur as well. None of those guys move the needle for me. Okay. Adonai Mitchell. He's still a vertical receiver. I don't believe in his route running ability like the greater draft community seems to. I'm not overwhelmed by it at all. I'm not going to necessarily question his effort, but he ran 4.34 at the combine. It was news to me. I was for sure he was going to be a 4.5 guy, a mid 4.5 guy. And so we saw Keon Coleman run 4.5, but he runs that 4.5 and he plays at that 4.5 as well. His gauntlet drill at the combine, he had the fastest mile per hour time there, if you're into that sort of thing. So he plays at his tested speed. He plays at that 4.5. And his 10-yard split was actually pretty solid. But he plays at that speed, the same speed he runs at. Adonai Mitchell tests at 4.3, but he plays at 4.5. Or he doesn't play every snap at that 4.3. I'm going Keon. I want the big body catchability. I want the jump ball ability. I want Josh Allen when he's dropping back, throwing those 60-yard chuck it balls. I want Keon Coleman on the other end of those, man, going up to the 5th floor and grabbing it over whoever's in his way. So I don't think they're necessarily. I think I like the thought of that. Just a guy I can throw the ball up to and know he's going to come down with it. We can work on the separation. Now, Detroit is interesting as well with everything that's happening on their defense with their cornerback room. Cortland Sutton, He was a Steeler. He left us in free agency and signed with them. He got in some legal trouble this offseason. They cut him. He was on the run from like Florida for like I think a domestic violence situation. He's since went and he turned himself in or whatever the case, and he's dealing with that. But they released him. They did add some bodies to that cornerback room. I think Enos Rakestraw Jr. from Mizzou, fits Dan Campbell like a glove. He's um, he's what they just lost in Chauncey Gardner Jr. A kind of smaller, kind of scrappy, in your face tone setter as your combo kind of nickel corner. But I think he's got outside. I think he's got some outside flexibility. But I love the thought of him there. I think Darius Robinson is another one. I think he's more of a 5 tech, but in their scheme, I think he can be your power or your base end on the other end of Aiden Hutchinson. They added a couple bodies there as well in free agency, but nobody that moves the needle for me. So Darius Robinson there. Young guy that I really love, Marshawn Nealon. My God. Love his film. This is going to be super high for Marshawn Nealon for sure, but I wouldn't be. I'm telling you, I love the fit. And then also receiver. So you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, all-pro caliber receiver. You've got Jameson Williams. He hasn't shown much. He was injured, and then he was suspended, and then he's been more or less, I don't even want to say inconsistent, because he just hasn't really shown or found his groove or found his lane yet. And so, and even still with that, you still have room on that offense for another guy. I think Jameson Williams is looking more and more like he may not be the dependable outside weapon that they need. And so, you know what? Let's give them A.D. Mitchell. Let's give them A.D. Mitchell. Oh, and look, the Ravens are pissed. The Ravens are pissed off because they're desperate for some style of legitimate X receiver threat. And I think I just gave A.D. Mitchell probably the last one in the first round to the Lions. I like Xavier Legette. I really do. I don't know if he'll be, I don't know about in the first round. They can also do some work on the offensive line. They've lost a couple pieces. I don't love anyone there necessarily. Defense, I think they can upgrade that secondary, but I don't know if they're in on a guy like Kool-Aid. Enos Rakestraw is aggressive. Definitely a strong tackler. A press man corner as well. I think he fits or suits their system. Let me see who else. They just signed Matabuke to a huge contract after his breakout year, because I can see Darius Robinson being a guy to add on the other side of that defensive line. These other edges I don't think are worth the first round. Ooh, who do we go with? Baltimore? Like I said, I think it's too early for Legette. Oh, man, who did I see? I just saw somebody a minute ago that made sense. You know what? Do I go Enos Rakestraw? Or you know what? Do we go Kool-Aid McKinstry, man? That front office has a history of drafting Alabama players for sure, dating back to their time under Ozzie Newsome. And they kind of kept that trend. Marlon Humphreys is there right now, Alabama alum. And so we'll go Kool-Aid, man. We'll go Kool-Aid, strengthen that secondary. I'm not a big Brandon Stevens fan, or he's solid enough, but he's not going to keep me from upgrading that position for sure. I got two more picks here. The Niners. Offensive line is interesting. Defensive line is interesting. There's a good player here in Johnny Newton, but they already got their pass rushing interior player in Javon Hargrave you just paid. You've got Nick Bosa on one side of that line. They brought over Chase Young mid-year to bookend. He leaves, of course, and goes to the Saints. I can't remember. I think they brought somebody else in as well, but I'm trying to remember who. They definitely need somebody in the wings in the tackle room. I am not a Tyler Guyton guy. I've came around on him a little bit, and so I've raised him up. I didn't want to touch Tyler Guyton before the fourth round, personally myself. I've came around since then. I'm not so hard on him, but I definitely think he's a day 2 guy for sure. I like Jordan Morgan here. Trent Williams isn't getting any younger, and I think that right tackle McTivitt's, you can probably upgrade there as well. Now, I don't think necessarily Jordan Morgan is a right tackle, but I do think he's going to fit that zone scheme they run as well. He's super athletic. He moves very well. I go Jordan Morgan there. Then last but not least, Kansas City. Know you need a receiver. Oh, man, day 1 game and fell in this thing. Day 1 game, real, man. Hey, appreciate you, big dog. Shout out to the members in the building, man. Tapping in while he's at the gig. Hey, I appreciate you, big dog. Yeah, man, we kind of closing on out, man. It was a good time, though, man. I got finishing up this little mock draft. Just kind of doing that, man. Keeping the time going a little bit. But nah, hey, I appreciate you stopping through, brother, always. Matter of fact, man, if you got time, man, let me know, man. What would you do for these Chiefs? They need a receiver and they need a corner. A lot of the big name receivers are gone. They did bring in Hollywood Brown, but Rashee Rice is now in his status is in question. And I think they're the type of team where they can. I would love the idea of Xavier Legette to Kansas City. I think it's a little early for a lot of teams, but Kansas City isn't one of those guys. I think people have compared him to like DK Metcalf, but I don't really think DK Metcalf, and I haven't even said this out loud to anybody else. I really think I think more a young, raw Terrell Owens is who he puts me in the mind of. Jacked, for one, just a physical specimen. That size, that density, that bulk, and that type of speed, legitimate 4.3 speed, 4.4 flat speed, whatever it was. Like I think he ran 4.39 at the combine. Jump out the gym, but raw. You know what I mean? Like doesn't run great routes, doesn't run a lot of routes. But in that Kansas City offense, man, explosive. I think I just talked myself into Xavier Legette. Let me see. We know they need a corner. They let go of L'Jarius Sneed, traded him via the franchise tag. But no, I think I just made that sound too fun, man. I'm going to Xavier Legette. There it is. See how we did. So not bad. Like I said, no trades, just trying to playing it straight through, trying to play it, kind of using the board that was presented as the rankings or how I kind of chose them. Oh, there you go. Day 1 game said, wide out, get established corner from Dillon's in the league. Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly right, man. So with the way the board was in this mock, I didn't love any of the corners that were there. Like I said, I don't necessarily think if they grab one of those guys in the first that it'd be too much of an upgrade over a guy. Well, no, maybe they are picking in the bottom of the second, but I like the idea of them getting another weapon, man. They got to do something with that offense. I think Spags and that defense are talented enough that they can figure some things out. You still got Trent McDuffie, who's an All-Pro. He was the All-Pro, and L'Jarius Sneed was an All-Pro or Pro Bowl. So you still got an All-Pro guy in that secondary. The safeties are studs. That other guy, Jalen Warren, I think he's pretty solid. I think they're going to give him a chance to maybe step up into that role and fulfill the role that L'Jarius Sneed is leaving. So I think receiver would be the play. And if it's me, I like the thought of Xavier Legette there with them, man. Just the potential for explosiveness there, man, with Patty. Patty's got to be thirsty or hungry, man, to get back to airing the ball out, man. And so I like the thought of Legette there, just the way this thing played out. But, man, hey, there you have it. There you have it, big dog, man. One more time, let me shout out everybody, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and rocked with your boy, man. Episode 1 is officially in the books. I really sincerely appreciate it. I don't have a set schedule yet, so I don't know, like, the frequency of how I want to do videos. Honestly, on this platform is going to be a little different than what I did on the last one with my dog Chop. And so it's not necessarily going to be geared only towards, like, a weekly live. I plan on maybe falling more into that kind of traditional YouTuber style of role, man. So I think there's going to be a lot more just standalone videos. I still definitely plan on going live, man. I love tapping in with the folks for sure, no doubt. So it's going to be some of that as well. And then, like I said, some other just content just general content videos, man. So y'all definitely subscribe to your dog's channel, man. Tap in, hit that bell for me if you don't mind. Still holla at the three amigos, man. Ain't nothing changed, man. Still like, share, and subscribe, man. Help your boy out. Real quick, man. My dog Chop, man, was the first one in the door today, man. Shout out to my dog. I appreciate you, brother. Who else was in here? The fam bam was in. So appreciate, love y'all for sure. Man, D-Dot, man, Stilly Jack was Stilly Jack. He said Willie Jack shot me on the chat, man. D-Dot, Stiller Nation was in the building for sure. Terrific Tom Walker holding down for them Houston, Texas. He was in the building. Big Cuzzo was in the building as well. What's going on with your family? Man, Big Chef was in this thing, man. William White, man, was in here. Appreciate you. My dog, Hoppy, man, Chief of General in Chief's Kingdom. I tell you that, man. He holds down those Chiefs like no other. Sis was in the building. Appreciate you. And then, of course, man, before the night got too young, while the night was still... Oh, don't let me forget about my dog, Keandre, man. Keandre from the crib. Appreciate you, homie. Appreciate you stopping through for sure. And then last but not least, man, my guy, my dog. Day one, Gang Jarrell came in here and closed it out with your boy, man. I appreciate it. Hey, y'all heard what he said, man. He said, bro, finna be dropping that content. And you know that, man. And you know that. And so definitely, man. So appreciate you stopping through as always, big dog. And then, like I said, I don't have a set schedule yet. So I don't necessarily have any, I don't necessarily have a shout out or an alert to let you know when the next is going to be. But appreciate you for coming through, stopping through. Appreciate everybody that came through, stopped through, kicked it with your dog. Look, I poured myself a little drink. I only got to sip it once. This one's for y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have fun. Good night. Be safe. And I